Hello, this is Mark. I'm going to talk about an interesting way you can figure out your function stack using a mathematic relation. There's multiple different ways that you can achieve this. This is just one of the ways, but I thought it was interesting. And if you notice the pattern with these functions, you can you note that I separated in different groups, but the first group, you'll notice that this is a judging function and an extrovert function. And the very first term, or TE, is basically what you do initially is if you denote this as F1, F2, F3, and F4, um, you're looking at F3, the third slot is the initial point, or the primary function. And this happens for each case. So you have TF, 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 so forth. Now if you go to the second set over here, ENTP, this is a perceiving, so it's different, so it's opposite. And you'll notice now the F2, the second slot, is the primary function with NN and SS, so forth. And then you can go to the third, it's again the judging, but now it's an introvert function. And again, this is now, it's again utilizing, but now because it's introvert, it flips, or relation flips. Now you have an intuitive function here in the sensing, so you have the second slot going for the primary. And then the last introvert perceivers, the last section, you can notice that again the relation is flipped this time. So the third slot you're utilizing TF, TF, so forth, just like a function or the order of operation. So you have introvert, intuitive, thinking, and perceiving, and then right here it's designated in the third slot. You have the primary function. So basically, I did it. You can start with this relation. So you let I equals 1 and extroverted equals 2. This doesn't mean that extrovert, it's more extrovert, an extrovert's going to have a higher value or so forth. This is just a way to represent it. The reason I did denoted it as introvert as 1 and extrovert as 2 is because extroverts tend to be chaotic and scattered all over the place. It's kind of if you think of like entropy, order, and disorder. An extrovert, I tend to think of it like fission. Introvert, like fusion. So fission, it's like kind of chaotic. So you can think of it as like more chaos. You can think of it as like a higher value of disorder, a higher quantity of disorder. So however you want to remember it, just think of the chaotic functions to have a higher value than the functions that tend to be silent, or like introverts tend to be, they're processing everything internally, although it could be chaotic internally. It's just expressed, the outward expression is hindered. So that's just how I denoted it. In perceiving, I denoted as 2 again, because perceivers tend to be spontaneous, kind of tend to be disorganized. Doesn't mean they're going to be, but this is how I laid it out, and it's just a way I can remember this, relation. Anyone can use a different method, but so the math relation is if you choose the endpoints. So F1 and F4, which is the first. You got the first F1 is initial function, and then the judging would be F4. So in this case, if F1 plus F4 is odd, or 2x plus 1, input F3 at the north coordinate. And here I'm going to show you the coordinate system. So you have north, south, east, and west. So what you're going to do is you're going to input F3. So again, that's what I went over earlier. Input F3 at the north coordinate, and if it's even, you're going to input F2 at the north coordinate. So using this relation, this is like if I'm just denoting this abstractly, but this is x1, x2, x3, x4, so you don't know your function. It's just that you know, this, or it's not defined, but with specific terms. But suppose, you know, x1 plus x4 is odd, and then this is gonna be the layout. Because it's odd, you're gonna put x3, which is synonymous with f3. So x3 is gonna be in your north coordinate. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go clockwise, or you're gonna go clockwise in the clockwise direction. What you're going to do is so you're gonna start at x3, and then you're gonna go to x2. So use an arrow, and then you're gonna take the polar function, or the polar opposite of x2 right here, and then go to x3. So it's basically basically the initial function is going to be x3, and your final function is also going to be x3, but it's going to be the polar. So you're going in that order. So x3, x2, x2 prime, and then x3 prime. And you can do that for the other case as well, but you're going to go in the other direction. So if it's even, you're going to start at x2, and then you're going to go to x3, x3 prime, and then back to x2. So here's an example. This is ISTJ, and you know the first and fourth function, I and j, add up to equate to 2, because I and j are both the numerical value is 1. So it's an even function, so you're going to use f2 at the north coordinate. And then the general rule here, what you want to do is you're going to take whatever the primary, if it's an introvert or extrovert function, and so forth. Notice that the very first functions, it's either going to be an introvert or extrovert function. So in this case, it's introvert, so you're going to apply the introverted function to the S. So it's going to be introverted sensing. And then you're going to lay out, remember, you go in order. You start with S, and then T prime, and then S prime. So next function's T, but it's going to alternate between introvert and extrovert. So now you're going to go from introvert to extrovert, back to introvert, then extrovert. So that's the basic rule for each of the functions. So you start here, you write your T, and then this is the polar opposite of, so the polar opposite of T is a feeling function, and the polar opposite of the sensing is going to be the intuitive. So utilizing this, you just go in order clockwise. So you have SI, TE, FI, and then NE is inferior. And this can work with any such function. You basically, for instance, I'm going to do a random one. Let's suppose you want to do, let's say you want to do E, N, F, P. So right here, you know that E plus P equals, we have 2 plus 2, it's 4, so that's even. So based on the even function, you're inputting F2. So in the north coordinate, it's pretty bad drawing, not an artist. So what you're going to have here is you're going to have the N, so the N function, not bad. And then from here you're going to go in order. So the rule is you start with N, you go to F, and then you're going to have F, and then you're going to go the other direction. I drew that pretty bad. You're going to start here. How do I draw that better? I would just put, it's better to do this. It's better to do this. So basically you start at N, you go to F, you stay at F, but this is a polar, this is F prime, and this is N prime. And then conversely, if you start at the other you're gonna actually go the opposite direction. So before we had what? We had, okay, that was ISTJ. This is the same. So let's suppose now you have an odd. I know I'm going all over the place. Let's see, which one would be odd? So F3, we have, nope. So INTP would be an odd, okay? So INTP is, we're gonna do two, yeah, here's the two examples. So in this case, we have I plus P is 1 plus 2 is 3. So now this is another case. Now you're going to start with F3. You're going to start with T. But this case, you're going to go this direction. So in the first case, when you start at F2, you notice you go counterclockwise. And then for this case, you're going to go clockwise. So, but it's just going to operate the same on the coordinate system. So for this case, you're going to go from N, and then you're going to go F, and then whatever F prime is a T, and then we have N prime as S. So En we'll start with extroverted because it's an extroverted function. This translates. And then you have, going clockwise, you have Fi, and then you have Te, and then you have Si. Believe I got that correct. Let's see. ENFP, okay, NEFI-TE-SI, okay. And then INTP, you're starting with T, you're going to apply the introverted function, and then you're going to go from T to N, and then you're going to N prime is S, and then S, and then you're going to go T prime is F. So you're going to have TI, and then you're going to have NE, remember we're alternating, and then you're going to have SI, and you have FE. So there you go. This is mathematical relation. This is just a way I can, remember. I'm not going to, use this, just I thought it was interesting. It's coordinate system I just created, and I always like mathematics, so I like creating equations for fun. I hope this was somewhat interesting if you're a nerd like I am, and yeah, that's I'll keep making videos related to health, psychology, philosophy, just different topics. It's always good to I like just learning for fun, and YouTube's a good avenue.